Stay on the channel. We continue our look at Transformers Age of the Primes Wave 1 with Solus Prime on Way I Got It Figured.
The way I got it figured.
What's up, figure fans? Way I Got It Figured, back with another Age of the Primes review. This time we're looking at Deluxe Class Solus Prime. Of course, I've been doing all the Age of the Prime stuff. So far, we've done everything in the wave minus Waspinator and Megatronus. I'm not going to get the Waspinator. Not going to see that review because I'm not going to buy it. But I got everything else. And Solus Prime, of course, is here. The Prime in the deluxe range. We had Prima Prime as a Voyager. And of course, we got Vector Prime in Transformers Legacy United. You sort of like the preview guy, which brings us up to 4 primes so far. She is in the new packaging with the window box. Got your steps to convert there. 28. Seems like a lot, really, for deluxe. You got her symbol, her prime symbol there. Artwork of Solus. Some of the primes toward the middle. I guess you have to get all of the deluxes and everything to see all of them. But again, since I'm not going to get the Waspinator, not really going to be able to see all of it. But it's still cool to see how they're doing that. I really like this new packaging. And then we have Solus Prime on the back with her forge. And that's pretty cool. Oh yeah, and I forgot, we did have the preview figure, sort of, kind of a preview with Malleus Minotaurus, who was a part of the Doom and Destruction pack with the deluxe Insecticons of Chop Shop and Barrage. So he's not a prime, but he's the assistant to Solus Prime when she's making her devices and weapons. We're gonna get Solus Prime out, get this thing started. Here is Solus Prime out of the package with her accessory. It's actually a 3-part accessory. I just combined it. Her Forge of Solus Prime. You can, it comes apart in 3 parts, presumably for storage. That is how that works. And Solus herself, looking pretty good. I love the green eyes. You can see her eyes are green and not blue or red. Sort of how you kind of see the Autobots and Decepticons. These are Cybertronians and they don't necessarily have a one or the other eye color. And that, I always like that, in the old G1 toys, the eye color was just whatever it was. There was no unified thing. That's a cartoon thing. And so, I'm always for things that aren't exactly right out of the cartoon. So her design is definitely inspired by a previous sort of thing. I'm struggling to remember what it was. Obviously, she didn't have a proper toy or anything, but this design is taking from that previous sort of artwork of Solus Prime. Probably in the Megatronus review, I'll probably go a little bit more into that, even with her, because they do have a special connection. So I've got to do a little bit more research on Solus herself. My biggest exposure to her is really just the Forge of Solus Prime, which Ultra Magnus used in Transformers Prime. So these figures and characters are all coalescing from a lot of various media being sort of turned into one big unified story, and that's a cool thing. I like it. I've always looked at Transformers, even as a G1 guy. I like getting things that are necessarily G1. I like everything being in the same sandbox, and I'm sure you've heard me say that on other Transformers videos. Perhaps not as much in recent times because I'm not getting a lot of figures that aren't G1 here or there. But it's a big thing for me. If a G2 character can go into a G1 collection without causing a contradiction, then obviously I'm going to get that character. If it's something that I just can't figure out a way to make it work within my one universe that I sort of have in my brain, then I don't buy the figure. So there's stuff like that that kept me from buying Armada, Commander class Armada Optimus Prime. Not that he's not an awesome figure, but that I can't really square it in my collection, and I don't have, I generally don't buy figures that I can't figure out a way to make them work in my collection. So enough about me. Back to Solus Prime. But she's looking cool. Looks very cool. Her articulation is on point. She has full waist swivel, which of course is probably due to transformation, but it still gets her the articulation point. You can mess around with her wrists, they swivel. On a deluxe, you don't always get that. Of course, she has the ankle pivot. Uh, she does not swivel at the boot, but that's okay. She swivels at the ankle, uh, upper ankle, so it's almost like a boot cut. You can look up, she can look down. You got some pretty decent articulation there. So then, I guess to give her hammer, you need to disassemble it enough to stick it in her arm, stick it into her hand, and then put it together because she doesn't have Voyager, at least hands. She doesn't have articulatable hands. That's how you get it in there. And she's looking pretty good. And now she's geared up. The next thing we'll do is get her transformed into vehicle mode and check that out. Here is Solus Prime in her vehicle mode. And she has a pretty involved transformation scheme for a deluxe. It's not difficult, but it is involved. So people who like to transform their figures, you know, just because they like to change them, will definitely get sort of an enjoyable experience doing that. She rolls pretty good. Everything's working there, and you can store her forge, on the vehicle, everything like that. She is very small in vehicle mode, so just for quick comparison with a vehicle, deluxe vehicle, here's Cosmos. Cosmos, isn't a big figure at all, but he's sort of big-ish compared. It's just how the figures fold and everything like that. So there you go with that. you know, it's interesting. Like I said, there's no established vehicle mode for this character, so you know, what are you gonna do? I think that about covers it, so we can get into some comparisons. So we're back with Solus Prime in robot mode once again, and it's time to do some comparisons. First up, we have Vector Prime. Next we have Prima Prime. And of course she's small next to them, but they are all varying sizes, and they all have that sort of ornate kind of look to them. I think that's pretty cool. Our biggest comparison comes in the form of the fallen Megatronus. And as you can see, he is a massive, massive dude. And of course, we've got to bring in Earthrise Optimus Prime. And Studio Series 86 Optimus Prime. So whatever your preferred scale is there, that's how they sort of stack up. We have all four of our current primes together. Now we do have an Alpha Trion, and I would actually include him in here because I'm still not sure if I'm going to get the new Alpha Trion. I'm going to decide whether or not the Legacy 2-pack one is the best one or whatever. But I don't know where he is right now, so he's not in here. But our four most recent Prime figures, part of the 13, all here, and they do look pretty good together, gotta say. So we're gonna get these guys out of here and move on to final thoughts. Final thoughts on Transformers Age of the Primes. Solus Prime. I think she's a pretty cool little deluxe. Like what they did with her. They're really knocking it out of the park with these primes. And while I was initially going to pass on them, I'm so glad I chose not to. She is for deluxe. I mean, she's a really nice deluxe. I would certainly recommend her, and I'm gonna keep on getting these guys. I'm gonna get all. Well, I'm gonna get 12 of them. Probably not gonna get Star Optimus, which is odd coming from a G1 guy. But as we get more into it, well, I'll explain why. I'm not gonna do it here, but there is a reason, and like I said, we'll get into it. But Solus Prime is pretty awesome. I'm gonna give her a 10 out of 10. I don't really see what really needs to be so much better on this figure. I mean, it's a figure that doesn't have an established alt mode or anything like that, so they kind of could do whatever they needed to do, and it all worked out. There you go. That's gonna do it for this one. Obviously, we had Megatronus in the video, so you know he's gonna be next up on the hit parade, so stay tuned for that. If you're new to the channel, Please like and subscribe. We've got plenty of Transformers content coming. I got all other kinds of content as well. And we hope to have you join us. We're trying to, increase our little corner of the YouTube toy space. Love to have you with us. Till next time, everybody stay safe. Happy collecting. See you on the next video. Peace.
The way I got it figured.